Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today is a little bit of review from last class. So I'm going to go over how to write the equations one more time. And then I'm going to review with us how we solve the equations using substitution and elimination. And then I'm going to give you practice problems. So you're not learning anything new today. We're just putting it all together. So we're putting it together with writing the equations and solving using substitution or elimination. What I'm going to tell you is that it doesn't matter which method you use when you're solving word problems, as long as you choose the one that you're most confident in or the one that appears easiest when you see it. And I'll explain what that looks like in a second. So, let's use this one here. So this is in our 4.5 section if you want to look at the question. I'm going to go through the example number 1 from 4.5. So there are twice, I already wrote this one out. I'm just going to actually copy this from the previous page. There are twice as many. Copy. Magical. Okay, so it's the same question we did yesterday when we wrote the formula out. So there are twice as many girls in the class as boys, and there are 36 students total. Set up a system of 2 equations with 2 unknowns to find how many girls and how many boys there are. So our first piece of information was this part highlighted up at the top here. There's twice as many girls in the class as boys. And from that, we got, we're going to say G was equal to girls. Oops, and B was equal to boys. And so we got G equals 2B. Okay, that was our first piece of information there. And then our second one here where it says 36 students total. Well, that one was our G plus B equals 36. Now, this problem is a great problem to use substitution for. The reason that we want to use substitution, there's a couple reasons. One variable is already by itself. One variable in equation 1 is already by itself. Okay, and 2, we don't have to rearrange either of the equations to set them equal to 0 if we use substitution. Don't have to rearrange. The equations. Elimination would work here as well very nicely, because if I were to set these both equal to 0 and subtract them from each other, my G minus G would cancel out my girls. So elimination would also be easy, but because this G is already by itself, substitution is typically the method I would suggest we use for this one. However, you can use elimination as well. I'm going to do both for you so you can follow the steps. So if I split this page down the middle, I'm going to write substitution over here. Substitution, elimination. Okay. So solving by substitution. I'm going to have my 2 equations. So equation 1 is G equals 2B, and equation 2 is G plus B equals 36. I'm going to put G equals 2B into my second equation. So I'm going to have, whoops, I keep moving my screen here. G plus, or sorry, not G. 2B in for my G plus B equals 36. So then I'm left with 3B equals 36. And how do I finish solving this problem? What's my next step? Pardon? Division, yeah. So divide both sides by 3. B is equal to what? Kevin, what's 36 divided by 3? 12, thank you. Okay, so B is equal to 12. There are 12 boys in the class. Now I'm going to plug this one back into my original equation. Actually, it doesn't really matter which equation it is, but you're going to plug B back in. So I'm going to go G equals 2 times 12, which makes G equal to what? Oh, please tell me someone can do 2 times 12.
24.
Thank you. Okay, so B is equal to 12. G is equal to 24. And so I'm going to do my last step for this problem here, which is to check if it makes logical sense. So I can either plug both values back into the formula and check mathematically that 12 plus 24 equals 36. That's my first one. Or I can check to see if 24 is 2 times 12, is twice the size of boys and girls. That's our logic check, okay? So you should be doing this at the end of every problem to make sure that you didn't make any mistakes. Because if all of a sudden you're looking at it and your total of boys plus girls does not equal 36, or it does not equal or fit into the other equation, then you know you've done something wrong along the way and you have to go back and double check your math, okay? Now, let's solve this one using elimination, just so I can show you that both are possible. So G equals 2B, and my equation number 2 is G plus B equals 36. Now, I have to set them both equal to 0 in my method of elimination. So I'm going to have G minus 2B equals 0, and I'm going to have G plus B minus 36 equals 0. Okay, so that's step 1 for elimination. Set equal to 0. Now I need to look at this and I need to go, okay, addition or subtraction, which one is going to work in order to get rid of one of my variables? Let's start with addition, because I like it better than subtraction. G plus G, does that equal 0? No. Negative 2B plus B, does that equal 0? Okay, so let's check subtraction. G minus G, does that equal 0? Okay, perfect. So subtraction it is. So I'm going to plug that in there. That cancels that out. Then I have negative 2B minus B, so that's going to equal negative 3B minus negative plus this. 0 minus negative 36 is plus 36 equals 0. I'm going to minus 36 from both sides of my equal sign. And I'm left with negative 3B equals negative 36. Divide both sides by negative 3. And B is equal to 12. Look at that. I got the same answer as last time when I solved for B. So either method works. So pick one you are most confident with. That's the first thing that you should be thinking about. The second thing is which one's going to be slightly easier. Okay? So because I didn't have to rearrange to use substitution, it is a little bit less work. However, you don't need to use it. Okay? I'm going to do one more example with you guys. Where elimination might be our slightly easier method. So this one is our example 2 from 4.5, and I'm going to write it out here. So Sarah bought 5 pens and 2 erasers for $6. Joel bought 3 pens and 4 erasers for $5. Set up a system of two equations and solve for the cost of a pen. Okay, so again, the first thing I'm going to do when I write out my equation is pick variables that I like. So I'm going to do P equals pen, E equals eraser. You could use X and Y. It doesn't matter to me what variables you use. Just make sure you write out a little key somewhere. Okay, so we're trying to find the cost of something. Now, when we do cost questions, our equations look a little bit different. So for these questions, I'm going to look at this first piece of information. So I've got 5 pens and 2 erasers for $6. So if I write 5 plus 2 equals 6, that is not correct, obviously. So I have to multiply the amount of something I'm buying by the cost. So this should be the pen cost and the eraser cost. So I'm going to do 5 pens, so 5p times or plus 2e equals 6. So 5 times the cost of something plus 2 times the cost of something equals $6. Does that make sense? So then my other equation is going to be based on what Joel bought, which was 3 pens and 4 erasers for $5. So I'm going to have 3p and 4e equals 5. So 3 times the cost of the pen plus 4 times the cost of the pen equals $5. Okay, now I'm going to look at this equation, and either choice I make, if it's substitution or elimination, I'm going to end up with something a little bit messy. However, if I choose substitution, I'm going to end up with fractions. Most of us want to avoid fractions here, so elimination is typically our easier option. So if this is equation 1 and this is equation 2 here, what I'm going to do is set both of them equal to 0. So if, I'm going to write this, a little note here, if substitution will leave you with fractions, elimination may be easier. Okay, so my equation 1, 5p plus 2e equals 6. And my equation 2, which was 3p plus 4e equals 5, I'm going to rearrange them. So for this first equation, minus 6 from both sides. And I am left with 5p plus 2e minus 6 equals 0. For the second one, I'm going to minus 5 from both sides. And I'll be left with 3p plus 45 minus 5 equals 0. Okay, I'm going to stack those two. So I'm going to have 5p plus 2e minus 6. And then I'm going to have 3p plus, my goodness, where did I get 45? 4e, not 45. 4e minus 5. Both of those are equal to 0. Okay. I can't do addition or subtraction right away because none of these are the same number values. However, I see a 2 and I see a 4, so I know that I can easily multiply my first equation by 2 to get a common value. So that will be 10p plus 4e minus 12, and then 3p plus 4e minus 5. Okay. Following so far? Yes? What I'm going to do, addition and addition, both of those are positive, so I can just do subtraction right away. So 10p minus 3p is 7p. 4e minus 4e is 0, so those cancel each other out. And then negative 12 minus negative 5 is what? Negative 7, but yes. So 7p minus 7 equals 0. Okay, plus 7 on both sides of our equals sign. 7p equals 7. Divide by 7. P equals 1. So the cost of a pen is $1. And if we read the question carefully, we'll notice that that's all we have to solve for this question, is the cost of our pen. However, you're also able to now solve for the cost of your erasers if you choose to or were asked for that as well. Any questions about this? Okay, so I'm going to stop this.